Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our show, Haunting the Afterlife Radio. I'm your host, Susie, and with me are my fabulous fellow hosts, Brian and Christina. How are you guys tonight?
I'm good, Susie. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing good. How are y'all doing?
I am super excited for tonight's show. Aren't you, Christina? I can see you already, super excited.
I am. I'm super excited. Tammy is so knowledgeable, and she's amazing and beautiful. I can't wait.
So, guys, tonight we will be talking with the very lovely Tammy Gyarmathy, Paranormal Investigator, Sensitive Empath, and TV Personality. We are going to discuss her abilities, paranormal experiences, and some EVPs, some video footage, and also what it's been like for her to appear on paranormal TV, such as ghost adventures. So turn down your lights, guys. Hold on to something.
What color is your hair?
Be ready to be creepily amazed. So before we get started, just a few things. Chat rules, please be respectful to other chatters. Our guests,
what color is your hair?
If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But just make sure you submit a comment. Okay? So that that way we can see them better. We will be having a 5-minute break at the top of the hour to let you guys, get some coffee or whatever it is you need to do. After break, we will be coming back, and that's when we will be having our EVPs and stuff like that for you guys to listen to and chime in on. But before then, we're going to get to know Tammy. And without further delay, let's go ahead and get her introduced. Hi, Tammy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am fabulous and definitely honored to have you on our show. So thank you very much for coming on. Can you start out by telling us just a little bit about yourself and how you got into the paranormal?
So for me, it all started when I was 5. We were at a place called Mika State Mansion in Hayward, California. It's an old historical house, and on the land they have like a playground and stuff for kids, and they used to have like flea markets. So I was with my parents, and I look up at the window, and I see a little girl looking down at me, and she had like black braids, a lace dress up to her neck, and she's just looking out the window. And I go to grab my mom, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Mom, look!" And by the time we look back up, she was gone. So that's kind of what started it for me. I didn't really realize that I was sensitive until I was 12. We went to go look at a house to move into, and the moment I stepped foot in this house, like I felt something, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And so we looked at the house, we left, and I told my parents, I don't want to live here. And they're like, well, why not? And I was like, because there's something in this house. And they're like, you're crazy. So of course we moved in. And it wasn't even a week into living there. We're sitting there having dinner. And so the dining room and then like my bedroom was kind of adjacent to the dining room area. And the radio goes on. And it's one of those like 6-disc CD players. And it starts changing CDs by itself. And we're like, my parents were like, what the hell? So I turn it off. And then I sit back down, and the TV goes on in the living room. So by this point, they're thinking, okay, I was probably right. And then that house was it was insane. We lived there until I want to say 18. I moved out when I was 18, 19. And that entire time, it was just an extremely active home. I was very fearful of it until I was probably about 16. And that's when I started to become like more intrigued, started doing more research on things. I would leave recorders going like when we were at school and my parents were at work, not even knowing like what to listen for, just whatever. And then I was on homeschool my last year of school. So I was working, and I had a friend who at my job was like clairvoyant. She could see spirits and whatnot. And she was like, let me come to your house. We can kind of find out what's going on. So she comes over, and like, she literally, like, I didn't tell her like much, not enough for her to know like exactly which rooms to go into and saying that this happens here and blah, blah, blah. So she's like taking me to all the areas, telling me what she feels. And like, she would be like, take a photo. And every time I took a photo, there was something in the photos. And then the last photo I took was in my bedroom, and she goes, there's a man standing behind me right now, and he's looking over my shoulder. Take a picture. So when those photos came back, like that one photo had this like white like anomaly floating behind her. I was just like, holy crap. And I moved out soon after that. And basically every house that I've lived in since then has been active. So that's it.
And do you think maybe something's following you or with you all the time?
Yes, I definitely think that something's following me. So that house that I grew up in, I went around the neighborhood asking like neighbors, like if anything in that home, what's going on there. And they had said that the family that lived there prior to us, they had a daughter who had a daughter, and they went on vacation to Clear Lake. And I guess there was a fire at the cabin that they were staying at, and the little girl died. So my assumption at that point was that girl came back to her home and followed me. But then I've had people tell me that it's something darker that's with me. So it's kind of like, I don't know. But I definitely know that what was in that house definitely has come with me. But then the other houses that I've lived in, the activity was something different as well. So
now, does that link back to what you were telling us when we were having our first Skype interview about children being, you believe that they are not children, they're actually darker entities?
yes, because see, what happens, like, what happened in that house, like, so one night, I don't know how old I was. I was older. I was like a teen at this point, and I was in my bedroom, and I had the radio on. And you know how sometimes if you have like a radio on kind of loud, you think you hear someone talking or something else going on in the background. Well, I kept hearing laughter, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" Because it was late. It was like after 11, and so I turned off my radio, and then I hear a little girl crying, and I'm like, "Who's crying? Like, we don't have small children in this house." I literally walked outside, went into the middle of the street just to see if there was any kids out there, because I'm like, this is crazy. It's super late. This makes no sense. Nobody's outside. Come back in, turn the radio back on, same thing, laugh, crying. And then I slept that night in the living room. So I was like, screw that, I'm not sleeping in my room tonight. And we had those floor vents, so one was on each side of the couch. So in my dream that night, all these spirits are coming out from the vents, like surrounding me. And I was like, okay, that's crazy. So I think I waited about 2 weeks, and I was like, Mom, I gotta tell you something. Like, something kind of weird happened a couple weeks ago. And she stops me, and she tells me her experience. Well, she heard the laughing and crying, and she had the same exact dream.
Wow.
So, and I get my sensitivity from her side of the family, so it kind of makes sense anyways. But I was just like, holy crap, like, what's going on? And it was like a lot of the things that happened in that house was kind of trickstery, you know, like back in the day, we had regular TVs, not these flat screen ones. So my cat would sleep on top of the television, and literally she like came out from the TV and like was in midair for a few seconds and then drops down and runs out of the room. And I'm just like, what the hell? So, I mean, whatever was there totally messed with my animals, and some things were something a little darker than what a child spirit would be doing. So I was always like wondering, like, is this really a child, or is this something that is trying to get us comfortable, or, you know, feel sorry for it? And then it was just like bad luck. Like, our family had a lot of bad things happen, like after another one after another. And it's just kind of something that's gone on through the years. So I've always talked about it amongst my family, and then other people that I became friends with in the field. And, you know, just weird things always happening in every house, and not like just like a normal haunting. Like, I've been choked in my sleep. I've woken up with like hand marks on my throat, like clocks flying off walls. I mean, that's not stuff that a child, you know, like I don't know. So back to that question, I've always questioned, like, is there children spirits? And I've always felt like they're so innocent. What do they have to stay here for? I don't understand why they would still be here. In a lot of cases that we've worked too, you know, we feel it's a child, but then it was doing bad things in the house, and all these cases ended up being a little bit more on the darker side in the end. So that's always kind of made me question, like, okay, are these children spirits, or are they something darker pretending to be? So that's something I've battled with myself since I've been doing paranormal.
What do you chatters think about that? What do you think, Christina and Brian?
I had this, you know, that I had the similar experience with the little girl, but it really did happen. But I met a lady way back in the day, not way back in the day, but she said that somebody was with me. I had a guardian angel with me all the time. And it was about a little girl. She was about 5 or 6 years old, long green dress. So it's kind of about the same story. So I'm not sure if it's anything dark. I just think maybe it's a spirit attached to you. That's what I think, because I had that experience. That I don't have a lot of bad things happen. So I just think maybe I've got somebody attached to me that's here with me. I don't know, Bri, what do you think?
Um, Handprints around the throat, bad luck. That doesn't sound like a kid to me. I know sometimes like the tugging of the shirt or the tugging of the pants, the giggles and stuff. Yeah, I mean that could be, but yeah, it's really tough. I've never had any experience with that. Mine have all been um, footsteps, cold spots, oven turning on and off, icebox opening up, closing, doors opening and closing. But mine was back in RAF, Royal Air Force over in England, officer housing. So I had nothing to do with kids. I actually would think that being that I'm a parent, that yeah, that might pull a little tough on the heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to be kind of careful with children's spirits. But yeah, that sounds like a rough time growing up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been kind of crazy. Like the house that my husband and I first moved in together when we were just dating, literally like the next day I come home and the linen closet doors are open, all the cabinets and the doors are open in the bathroom. In our bedroom, we had like 3 of his dresser drawers open, which one like I can't even really get open half the time because it gets so stuck. And that house was crazy. Like his personality, like literally changed overnight. And just like cold spots, I would get really bad panic attacks at night. Woken out of my sleep, like heart rate just crazy and just weird things and things that I never really experienced before moving into that house. So it's just always kind of been an ongoing thing. When we moved into this house, I think I was telling you guys when we talked the other day, like, because our rule, like, he won't let me investigate unless something happens. If something happens, then I can investigate the house. And so we were unpacking in the kitchen, and we saw a man walk past the windows and the door to our backyard, and we're like, who the hell was that? So we go outside, and this is the middle of the day. Nobody's out there. So I'm like, I can investigate something else. And it was just weird, but I know that weird things happened in this house before we moved in because even our neighbors were like, we're so happy that you guys moved in. You're normal. Like the people before you were people that would drown kittens in a basement. And that kind of set something off in me. And I'm like, okay, tell me more, And they're like, they'd hear screams from the house at all hours of the day. So the woman that lived here, she became friends with our neighbor across the street. And at first she was really nice, but then she started getting really aggressive with her children. And so she stopped being her friend. And they ended up getting them evicted because it was just kind of crazy. Well, in our backyard, there was a gargoyle on the back fence facing the house, which everyone knows that the gargoyle is supposed to face away from the house because that's how the wings are the protected part. It's on the outside of the house.
Right.
Well, this gargoyle was facing the house with the wings broken off. And I'm like, who would do that? And we found like these red and black long candlesticks in the house. And I'm just like, okay, these people are probably into some stuff. And the original owner died here too. His name was Michael. He was an older gentleman, and it was Christmas Day. He actually died of a heart attack in the bathroom. And so I was like, well, maybe it's just Michael. But then once like clocks started flying, like projecting 5 feet off the wall, and just like really weird black shadow figures all the time. And anybody that would come over here would see these and experience this stuff. So I was like, okay, I don't think it's Michael. I think it's something else. I mean, there was one time, because my friend Matt, who's also on LSI, he lived with us when we first moved in, and he was in his bedroom, and I saw a guy with Matt. I thought it was Matt walking into the bathroom because he had his same build and everything. And then he never came back, and I was like, okay. So I text Matt. I'm like, dude, are you all right in there? And he texts me back. He's like, I'm in bed. What are you talking about? I'm like, you didn't just go to the bathroom. He's like, no. Well, I did find out that the guy, Michael, did have a similar build to him. So I think that one time at least was the guy who used to live here. But the other stuff that's happened in this house has just been absolutely insane. I mean, banging on the walls and my cats reacting to things, and just, it was Mother's Day last year. The day after, I woke up, like I said, I was choking, couldn't breathe. My heart was super high. I go to the bathroom to go rinse my face off, and I have this handprint on my neck, but the way that the fingers were, like, there was no way I could have done that to myself. And the fingers were even shaped kind of funky. It was really, I'll send you the picture when we get off the phone here. And that's never happened to me before. Like, I've never had like a handprint left on my body. I've been scratched and stuff, but that was pretty traumatizing.
And you said that, didn't you say that you had some investigators come into your own home? Being a paranormal investigator, you had some people come into your house to investigate.
Yeah, I had a team who had a demonologist on the team, because I've always felt like it was something darker around me, like I said. And they didn't necessarily pick that up. What they did pick up, though, is they kind of felt like the clocks flying and stuff was like my energy. Because that happens quite a bit around me. Things fly off walls around me all the time. Like, 2 times now at my hair salon that I get my hair done, we were talking about something, and her certificate thing on the wall, like, flew off the wall. It, like, just barely missed my face and then fell on the ground and broke. And then the next time that I went there, they have like a shelf with their hair products on it. 4 bottles fly off and 1 hits me. And then I had a paranormal event at the Hotel Leger, and we were in the jail, and it was me, Dalen Spratt from Ghost Brothers, Rex Williams from, what's the show? Oh my God, I can't remember the name of the show now. With Josh Gates.
Oh, okay.
Destination Truth.
Destination Truth.
That show.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so there was a Ouija board on the table, and the guys were standing over by the front of the jail, and there was like a freestanding door with a cross hanging on it. I put my hand on the planchette, and I said, let's play the Ouija board. Well, literally as soon as I did that, the cross flew off the door. And everyone's just like, holy crap, what just happened? So stuff like that happens around me all the time. And it's just weird to me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know necessarily that it's me doing it. But that's one theory that some people have.
Do you think that you could be projecting that energy? Because me, myself, I project a lot of energy. People can touch me and get shocked. Like, it's crazy.
Happens to me a lot too.
Really? So yeah, I do think that's what it is, that you're just projecting this like crazy energy. And that would also make you a spirit lighthouse. So that would make you so energetic that you could actually like draw in those spirits. And that's why they might be following you, or you might just encounter new spirits wherever you go.
And it's weird because, like, I feel like these spirits know who I am and like what I do. Because one time I was in New York with my mom, and we're walking in Central Park, and this lady, dressed normal, like business attire, she, like, literally stops right in front of me, and she's pointing in my face, and she's like, he knows who you are, and he knows what you're doing, and he doesn't like it. He's coming for you. And I'm just like, my mom and I look at each other like, what the hell just happened?
Whoa.
And then she steps aside and she walks off. And I'm like, okay.
That is so creepy. That just gave me chills.
It was nuts. And it was crazy because I think maybe a year later, I was at a friend's birthday party. And we're sitting there having a good time, talking to this couple, me and Drew, a guy on my team, and everything's fine. And then the party dies down, everyone's kind of leaving, and we're all still in the hot tub. And the guy just, his personality just changes out of nowhere. We're like, okay, this dude's getting a little weird now. And he's just like, have you spoke to him? And I'm like, him who? And he goes, him. And then it kind of clicked, like, what he was talking about. And I was like, well, yeah, I worked a dark case one time, and I think that I think something was in the person that we were trying to help. And he goes, yeah, well, he knows you well. I mean, he basically said the same exact thing as this woman in New York. And he was just like, he doesn't like what you're doing. He's coming for you, but he's not going to hurt you. He's going to hurt those around you and this and that. I'm just like sitting there, like, I think I had St. Benedict on or something. And I know Drew did. And Drew lost his necklace that night, which was really weird too. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, this is weird. Like, how is it that two people in two completely different places said the same exact thing to me?
Yeah, that's freaking crazy.
Yeah. And I think that some of us in this field, like, are chosen to do what we're doing. But
Have you
that happened to me? I'm like, okay. Yeah. So,
have you ever thought about having a life regression to see if you've had a past life, if you were maybe a witch hunter or part of those that I don't know.
about it. I haven't done it yet, but that's definitely something that I should do. Definitely. Especially.
Yeah, because I mean, if people are seeing you and coming up and saying he knows who you are, chances are that you could be projecting a former life.
Yeah, my mom just reminded me too. We were in the Dominican Republic and we're laying at the pool, and this lady walks by us, and like, I kind of eyed her a few times, and I'm like, there's something off about this woman. Like, I can see people and like tell like there's something not right. And every time she'd walk by, like, she would just stare, like she's staring into me. And she did this. She walked past us, I don't know, like 3 or 4 times. And my mom's like, did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, that was kind of nuts. So I've experienced things like that. And it's creepy because I'm like, what's going on? Who am I? But.
And you've never had like a reading, card reading, or?
I've had a couple of readings, and every time that's happened, the first like card reading that I had, my grandfather died that day. And then the second time that I had like a major reading, my dad passed 2 days later. So I've kind of together, and I stay away from that because I'm like, there's something to that. I don't know if it's just a coincidence, but they've always turned out very bad in the end. So no, I haven't really had too many readings. But I have thought about the past life thing, and someone else has told me I should probably do that too.
And she would do good with an aura reading.
You should get her hooked up with Dorothy Holder.
Yeah.
I've had a woman.
Yeah.
I was in Kohl's, and she goes, "Your aura is so strong," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Okay, thanks. Go ahead, go." Oh yeah, that time too. So when I was driving home from work, and I was stuck in traffic. I live in California, so everyone knows about that. And there's a car on the side of me, and it's a woman in the back seat and 2 gentlemen in the front seat. And the woman just keeps staring at me, and I'm like, "What the hell is she looking at? Like, leave me alone." So like, I would get in front of them, and then I wouldn't have to worry about it. And then she'd get on the side again, and she's just staring at me. And then they get ahead of me and then in front of me. And she literally, in the back seat, turns around and is staring out the back window at me. So that's just like another situation where it's like, what do these people see? Like, it's always like really wigged me out because obviously they're seeing something, but I don't know what or why.
Well, personally, I mean, I see you right now, and you just seem like a lovely, amazing person. But I haven't seen you in person. But I mean, just seeing you on video, But yeah, that would be freaking crazy. Oh, did we have a technical glitch, Brian?
Yeah, all of a sudden the stream just stopped, but it's back up going.
Okay, I saw everyone watching. Does anybody have any questions for Tammy? I did post her links above in the chat there, and I'll be reposting them as we continue on with the show. But does anyone have any questions? Feel free, please don't be shy. Feel free to ask. Just make sure that you put them in caps so we can see them. Or any comments if you relate to what she has been going through. I mean, I find this fascinating. I've never really gone through something so intense as you've gone through, Tammy. Now, tell us a little bit about how you started your team, because we haven't really touched on that. What's the name of your team, and how did you get started with your team?
So it's Lost Souls Investigations. So basically, when I first got into the field, I would do like meetups and stuff like that, and I wasn't really part of any teams. I was just kind of like on my own. And then I got on a team, and the team did like live stream investigations on the internet and stuff. And I just kind of, at that point, like I realized that's not how I wanted to do things. So, and that's how I met Matt. Matt and I met on that team. And then Matt and I kind of just started doing our own thing. And then we met Drew, and he kind of started coming along with us. And then I just kind of, let's just make a team. Let's just do our own thing. And, you know, and that's kind of how Lost Souls started. And then we started doing, we mainly focused on residential cases. Because for me, like with my experiences growing up, like my main reason for getting into the paranormal was to help people that are going through what I went through. And of course get answers and all that stuff for myself too. But so yeah, our main focus was residential cases, and then we started doing historical locations and stuff, you know, for research base and whatnot. And our first major case, actually, it kind of goes back to like the darker stuff. A lady had called me up, and she was like, there's a demon in my house. And I'm like, okay, calm down, it's not a demon. Like, you know, she's explaining everything that's going on, and she's saying this spirit's like touching her, and like just all this really weird stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, we can come in and do like meet each other. We can go through the house and see what's going on, and then we can set up an investigation. So then we go to the house, and it's her son, who was like in his early 40s, and her brother living in the home, and she's telling me what's going on. And she goes upstairs with the other woman that was part of the team at the time. And I'm left downstairs with the son, and the son's like talking to me, and he goes, oh, well, yeah, so I play the Ouija board, and I invite them in so I can learn from them. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And he's like going on. And an interesting thing too is when he introduced himself, he goes, well, my name is so-and-so, but call me this. And I thought that was kind of weird. And so then he proceeds to say that he was in the military, and he went to Prague in Germany, and he went to the catacombs in Prague. And I'm like thinking to myself, this is really weird, because that was literally my honeymoon 6 months before I picked up this case. And I'm like, okay, like, how does he, like, what is he saying? So I just got this really bad vibe from him. And they come back downstairs, and we kind of like say, okay, well, we're going to go over everything. And we left. And I just got a vibe that something that the son was doing was causing what was going on in the house. So I told the woman, I said, you know, I'd like to meet with you outside of your house. Let's meet at Starbucks or something. I want to discuss with you what I feel is going on. And so we meet up, and she tells me that I asked her, I said, was your son in the military? And she goes, no, he's never been out of the country. So I'm like, okay. And I said, well, he said that he plays the Ouija board in the house, and it's not in the other. And she goes, well, that's not true either. I've never seen it happen. And I'm like, okay, well, he could still be doing that, you know, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Mm-hmm. And then she claims that was in her home was raping her. So she had mentioned when we were interviewing her that the son and her sleep downstairs on the couches, and she lets the brother sleep in her room, which I thought was kind of weird. And then she said that sometimes he would get on the couch with her. So I don't know if you've seen that movie American Haunting.
Yes.
Okay, so the dad was raping the daughter, which created this spiritual thing in their home. So that was like the first thing that popped into my mind. Like, something's going on here that's probably not paranormal. And I asked her, I said, the next time that you feel this is happening to you, would you be willing to get a rape kit done? I'd go with you, make sure everything's okay. And she was just like, no, I'm not really comfortable doing that, and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. We kind of squashed that part of it, and we agreed to do an investigation. So they leave, and we're investigating. We go up to the son's bedroom, and he has all these like satanic drawings on his wall. And I'm like, how does she not like see this? Like, it's literally drawn on the wall. And one of the closets was open in the hallway, and he had stuff drawn on the wall in there too. And I'm like, wow, what's going on in this house? So we had like a shoe thrown at us. Like, the investigation was like insane. And we go back a few more times. We got some EVPs. We weren't getting too much. And then she would call me every day. You know, this is happening. So I felt bad, but we weren't really getting a whole lot to put together and say this is what's happening. So I go back for my last investigation, and I go up to his bedroom, and there's you know, like the packets of socks, the new packs. So we had like 3 stacks like stacked up, and he had a hat, and then there was a Polaroid photo on top of the hat. And I'm like, oh, that must be him and his sister when they were younger. I go up to the hat. The picture's me and my sister.
What?
Yes. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? I felt like I got kicked in the gut because I'm like, this is creepy. Like, this has never happened before. Like, what's this? And then there was a negative laying like on the side of it, and it was me and my best friend, whom I was 16. And my dad had taken that photo of us. But the weird part is 3 weeks to a month before we took this case on. So my dad had passed away, and my mom sold the house, so she was moving. But we found these things, and we packed them up in a box, and they went to her storage unit. So it's just weird that it ends up in this house, and we're like, how the hell did this happen? So I called them right away. I'm like, you guys need to come home right now. So I asked him, I said, where did you get these photos? These are me. Like, where did you get these from? And he goes, what are you accusing me of? Like, call the cops if you think I did something wrong. I'm like, calm down. I want to know where you found these photos. They were on the floor in my bedroom. How is that possible? Like, how can
wow.
it be possible? So I leave. I call up a couple of my medium friends, and I'm like, this is what's happening. Tell me, what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do, because this is the first time we ever had a case like this. And they're like, you need to leave the case, find somebody else to take it on, because it's personal, obviously, now. And I was told it was something darker. And so that's the case that kind of got us on that path, learning more about the darker side of things. And because I wasn't like, I know there's a lot of people who are like demon crazy, like it's all demons, and I've never been that way. But after that case, that really changed my mind about something darker. Because how the hell did my photos end up in this house? And I asked how like she found who we were, and her sister and like in the Philippines found our site. Like, of all teams. Like, if she's searching from the Philippines, how did she find us? Like, none of it added up. And a lot of the cases that we've taken on, there's always some type of tie to me in a way. Like, we took this other case on in Concord, and our first team name was Truth Finders Paranormal, and the lady wrote a book, and it was Truth Finders, and it was about paranormal. But when she found us, our name was something different. Like, we were already Lost Souls Investigation. So there's always something like weird like that happens in our cases. That's another reason why I was like obviously, like, this is a calling for me. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's always something kind of weird and strange.
What do you guys think about that, Brian, Christina?
If that happened to me, I think I would be putting on a clergy collar and everything and saying, I'm done. I mean, I was getting goosebumps when you were saying that. Has any of your other investigations, things like that, happened? Finding stuff of your own personal stuff on investigations?
No, that was the only case that was to that extent. Like, that it was pretty insane. Like, And at that time, that's when I had first got married. We moved into our new place. My husband's mother got sick, and he was staying with her for a few months. So I was here by myself. And so, like, when we took that case on, like, my house, like, was super active. And I always feel like when I'm working a case, my house amps up, like, a lot. But as far as, like, personal items, no, that was the first time ever, and the last, thank God. Because I don't know what I would do if it happened again.
Wow. That is just super scary. Super scary. And I mean, because we have to be sort of psychologists in a way to get a feel for the person, to make sure that they're not delusional, have dementia, and then they're not a serial killer.
Like stalking us and
yeah.
Definitely,
I mean,
that we do extensive, like, we fill out forms, we make sure that, like, asking all the right questions. And I mean, I had a case, another guy, he was a young kid, good looking kid, like, had his stuff together, and he had us come to his house, and I asked him, any mental illness, alcoholism, drugs, blah 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 blah. And he admitted, that he had some psychotic episodes and stuff. He was ex-military, so I was like, okay, well, that's understandable. You've been through a lot, so maybe that has something to do with it. And then, the deeper we got into that case, we realized he ended up telling me the truth, that he said that twice in his life he basically sold his soul to the devil. And
I got a question for you real quick. You have another person there with you at the house, right?
And those yes, yeah.
No, right now.
Right now, yeah, my husband just walked by.
Okay, yeah, okay. I saw somebody walk by and everything wearing dark clothes. So I was just asking.
He handed me a pad of paper with what he wants to do, and he wants me to circle which one. So yeah, that was my husband. No, that was my ghost, Charlie. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, so I mean, that kid, like, openly admitted, like, what he did, and it was funny because I had somebody working on it with me, because I found, like, all these, I don't know yet, give me a second. He had, like, these drawings in his office, and they were kind of weird, and, like, all these, like, symbols and stuff like that. And I was working with a friend of mine who was a witch, and I said, what are these symbols? And she's helping me with it. And we went back, and I was like, something's really off with him. She goes, okay, send me a picture of him. So he let me take a picture of him, and I sent it to her. In this picture, his eyes were legit black, like black. And, like, it was like he's, like, looking through you. I can send you the photo when we get off the phone. But, like, and she goes, you need to get out of the house. Like, right now, there's something really wrong with this kid. And that's when kind of things kind of started coming out. And he was like, I made a mistake. I said, I told him I would sell my soul to him because he wanted, like, money and girls and, like, stupid 24-year-old guy, stupid stuff. And I'm just like, but look what you brought into your house. Like, investigating his house was really creepy. And he's like, I want help. And he really wanted help. And I was just like, well, I had to find somebody else to help him because I didn't know how to get rid of something like that. But yeah, so it's always like the cases that we were getting, like, continuously started to be more darker and darker. And I was just like, I don't understand why. Because I mean, most people in the field would say, that's very rare. And for us to get so many cases that weren't so nice, I'm like, okay, well, is it so rare then? Or is it just like, are we drawing these type of people into us? Like, I don't understand that. So we did back off of residential cases for a while because it was just beginning to be too much. And every time we would take on a case like that, like I said, my house would just get crazy.
It does get to be a lot. It's been getting to be a lot too with my own team, the Mystery Gang. It's. I don't think some people realize the effort, the emotional effort you need to put into these type of cases, especially because often the resident will be trying to reach out to you constantly.
Oh,
and, you know, yeah.
And we're only like investigating, but we're like Brian said, we're like psychiatrists in a way. Like, we're trying to help them in so many different levels. And it takes so much energy. So much energy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, doing an investigation really drains you, not only emotionally, but physically and spiritually. And it takes time to recharge. And I know Susie had a residential case, and I mean, this lady was constantly calling, and not taking Susie's advice and everything, and always basically inviting it back in, and having Susie get rid of it again, and vice versa. And this case that they did, both Susie and one of the other investigators was physically attacked. I mean, dropping to their knees and crying with pain. And when does it come to that point that you have to say, I'm sorry, I can no longer help you. I have to get someone that is more advanced, better knowledge than me in this, or I have gotten too personally involved in it, and it's starting to affect me and my personal life. That's what we all have to deal with in our own ways. And I myself, I have to admit, I haven't been investigating for probably 2 years now, or 3 years going on it. I moved to Corpus Christi from Reno, and I just haven't been able to get that team. And I've always been told, never investigate by yourself, because you don't know what you're getting into. And I kind of miss it and everything. And I want to take a trip back up to Reno and do some investigation, or even come into California and do some investigations.
It's, for me personally, after doing the case that you were just talking about, Brian, where I was personally attacked, and just speaking with different people within the paranormal community the last few years, and doing readings, going to houses and doing readings, I've actually started to kind of like, I don't know how to say this, like the Mystery Gang is still doing residentials, but we're being much more pickier about our residential cases, because it's gotten to the point where, excuse me, like, we wonder if doing an investigation would actually cause more harm.
Right.
Because like what you were saying, Brian, about that one resident who became kind of reliant on us, and having to go back and it doing so much like emotional and physical, exhaustion on us. And it started to get to the point where I have to make sure when I go into a residential, and I've done a lot of them the last year, just going into the homes and feeling them out, I have to make that decision. Would it be okay? Would it be for the best to do an investigation here? Is it going to cause more harm than good, reaching out to whatever is at that specific house or whatever location? So, when we first started investigating, 9 years ago, doing residentials was like first on our minds and very exciting for us. But as we've grown and become less greener, it's become more known to us that, well, should we really do that? Are we experienced enough to do this? Like, does that make sense, Tammy? Like you were saying, yes,
something's over our pay grade. You know what I mean? It's like you don't mess with it. You know, if you don't have the experience in it, then you just don't like. And honestly, we didn't have a whole lot of experience in that darker stuff either. But taking those cases on, it taught us a lot at the same time. And we worked very closely with other people too when we worked those cases. So
Yes.
Right.
And that's what it's about. It's about para-unity, but the only issue is if you get all these different paranormal investigators in there that have all these different views, and if they're not like the Mr. Gang is like our sister team, but they're over 24 hours away from us where I'm at. Like they couldn't come here local to a resident, and I would trust them to do that. Whereas we don't have local teams that I would trust to come in and help. That's where it becomes a little difficult because you don't want to bring in a team that's just going to really mess it up, you know?
And it's hard because the field has become so competitive, and
yes,
it's not what it was 18 years ago when I started. Like, that's a big reason why I backed off too. But I think it's so important to have a close bond with other teams because we're not experts. We're learning every time we walk into a case. Every investigation I go on, I learn something new. Always wanting to learn different techniques and different ways to communicate. And so I think it's really important to investigate with other teams and even have teams on the side that can help you on cases that you just are kind of like scratching your head out or it's just too much above your experience. And, you know, being able to admit that is huge. And I fear a lot of these like newcomers to the paranormal because a lot of people come into the paranormal because, oh, I watch Ghost Adventures and it's cool. You know, I want to do that. And then this woman today posted online. I was on the Ghost Adventures like Facebook page and she goes, I've been watching Ghost Adventures since it started and I've learned so much. I'm so ready to get out there and help people. And I was just like, no.
No.
You have no idea what it takes to help somebody. If you want to go do like historical locations and you want to learn first, that's great. But don't you dare go in someone's house. And that's the thing that scares me because, like you said, you know, can we do more harm than good? And if someone goes into one of those cases and they just don't know what they're doing, they're going to cause so much more problems for that family.
Well, like, for example, I had somebody, it was like a month ago, call me in to do a reading. She felt like she had something evil, quote unquote evil, in her home. And I rushed over there because she was in tears. And when I got there, basically my goal was to just calm her down. I am a reader. I can pick up on certain spirits and things. So I wanted to calm her because she has kids, and young kids, and was just freaking out, crying. And I went there, and the first thing I thought when I was there was like, you know, an investigation would not be such a good thing. I need to call on one of my friends outside of my group who is more experienced in negative entity removal for this sort of thing. I did not feel like an investigation. I felt like actually doing an investigation there. So bringing in all of our equipment and trying to communicate with whatever was there would cause more harm than good.
Right.
And that's kind of what I've been learning the last few years is that sometimes it does cause more harm than good, going in there trying to communicate. When you're just an investigator, I mean, me, yes, I am a clairvoyant and medium, but that doesn't mean that I have the experience to get rid of negative thing, you know. And so I did. I called on my friend who's got experience with that, and we got it taken care of in that way. It didn't need an investigation. So, you know, and that's kind of what I was saying is that we've kind of stopped doing so many residentials because I learned my lesson with that. Sometimes you go into these residentials and you start communicating, you open things up and it causes more harm than good. Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
yeah, I mean, especially if whatever's there doesn't want anybody to come in, and it just wants to play with the family and everything, and they bring somebody else in, and we try to do something and try to communicate with it, and it doesn't want to, so it's going to take it out on the family even more. Yeah. That's, yeah. I've had a couple of cases where I've had to call other people, other teams and everything. And down here in South Texas, we have a lot of the Spanish culture and a lot of superstitions in the brujas, the Mexican witches, and blood curses and stuff like that. And yeah, that's way, way, way above me and everything. And I couldn't find a team within 300 miles that would even touch this case.
Right.
And I actually had to contact a witch in Canada, and she said she would try to do as much as she could, and she said, yeah, this is starting to become above her, so she had to pass it on also.
you know, if we would have been friends with June Lundgren back in those days, she would have taken care of it.
Yeah.
That's who I called on with the last case I was just telling you guys about. But
I have to admit, I am very, very jealous of you. You've worked with some fabulous people. I'm not a big Zach fan, but yes, he is a good investigator. I particularly didn't like the provoking that he did at first, but I do respect him. And I do respect Nick and everybody, and
Aaron.
just the network of people that you have in your pocket. I would love to have in mind. I think the only star that I've really gotten in contact with, and I love her to death, and that was Katrina.
Katrina's a sweetheart.
And I loved her from the Paranormal State days all the way up and everything, and now she's working with Jack Osborne.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that.
I can't wait to see her on that and everything. It's sad that Paranormal Lockdown got canceled.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
yeah, she was a sweetheart.
Yeah, we had her on our show. What was it? Last August, right? We had her on our show.
Back
our
in
old show.
Paranormal State days, her and I used to talk all the time on Messenger when she first came out. And it was funny because I ran into her 2 years ago now, maybe a year ago, on the USS Hornet. I was like, we used to talk all the time. And she goes, yeah, that's when I was in college and I actually had time to talk to people. But yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She's really busy.
And Heather Taddy. Because they were on Paranormal Lockdown together. Not Paranormal Lockdown, Paranormal State together.
Yeah.
And
that honestly was like my favorite show. I think
that was
my
yeah.
show because they had people from every walk of life, every religious belief, and they just the way that they did things. I don't know. I really liked that show. I was sad when it stopped. That was
unfortunately, there's not a lot of paracons down in my neck of the wood. And they're all seem to be up in the Ohio, Michigan, that area up there.
Well, hey, I'm moving to Texas, so
yeah,
I put on events too, so maybe they will be here soon.
that makes me sad. Okay, because you're like the only person that we have talked to who is really close to me, being California, and now you're just gonna move away.
I hate
Yeah.
it. I can't live here anymore.
She loves Texas.
Well, if you ever make it down to Corpus Christi, we'll have to do the USS Lexington.
There we go.
Definitely. Let me get my legs back. I am down to do anything at this point.
That
Yeah.
is a Yorktown Hospital. It's in between San Antonio and Corpus Christi.
Nice. Yeah, I'm down. And it's cool because I've actually made so many friends too, that live in Texas, and a few of them live in the exact city that I'm planning on moving to too. So it's nice that I'll have like a paranormal network already.
Oh, nice.
Living out there. Yeah. I made sure of that. I just can't wait. But before I leave, we'll have to get together.
Yeah, before you leave. What are you planning on moving again?
I'm hoping by the end of the year, maybe beginning of next year. So that's it. It just really all depends on me getting better at this point. My husband already has some job opportunities lined up, so I just need to get to a point where I could physically do the move.
I know that you said that you have investigated for certain places in Virginia City a lot. So maybe when you do, before you move, maybe you could come here and take my team, and we could all go do. I know you said that you were fond of the Washoe Club, correct? In St. Mary's.
Yeah, that was one of my first big places that I'd done.
Yeah, and see, I haven't done that yet, so.
Oh yes, we should definitely.
I'm a virgin.
Club is good. Now, energy's changed a lot over the years, but it's a good place. And the St. Mary's, that's my absolute favorite in Virginia City. But since they had changed it to the Art Institute and had all the artists move in there and stuff, the energy's very much different than what it was.
Yeah.
I've
heard that.
Sometimes those places get ruined.
That's true. That does happen. Well, guys, we're at the top of the hour, so we're going to take a 5-minute break. Are we ready, Bri, for that 5-minute break?
Yep, we can do that.
All right, guys, go grab some coffee or whatever. We'll be back in 5 minutes with some cool video footage, some EVPs, and some other cool stuff. Don't go away. Are we good, Brad? Okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, to Haunting the Afterlife Radio. Sorry, I'm laughing at Brian. We are talking with the fabulous, most lovely Tammy Gyarmathy. Gyarmathy, right?
Gyarmathy!
I was messing up. We were having a really amazing conversation earlier just about getting to know her and stuff, and now we're going to move into more of her evidence and footage. We are going to show some pictures, talk about those pictures, and then we're also going to be playing a really crazy video, Ouija board. Ooh, very controversial there. And then also be playing some EVPs. We're going to be playing each EVP. I think there's like 3 of them, and we're going to be playing 3 times each. And we're going to let you chatters say what you hear before, Tammy chimes in. But yeah, so let's get started with the pictures.
Yep, and this one is at the Presidio.
I have to refresh my chat window.
Yeah.
Oh, there, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, hi Lisa, hi Jen. Hope you guys have fun today.
Wow, what is that? Yeah, it does look like a man.
Doesn't it look like a head? Like a skeleton head?
Yeah.
It looks like a seahorse.
Looks like like we got something here. I don't know what it is.
It looks like a seahorse head.
It does kind of too.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a landmark in San Francisco where the unmarked graves were.
California.
Wow. Yeah, you can.
But the Presidio, if you ever make it to the Presidio, it is absolutely gorgeous. It is phenomenal. And it is a huge area to cover.
Yeah, there's
I loved it.
The pet cemetery is near there. I don't know if it's there anymore because I know they were doing construction and they were talking about moving it. But that was really creepy at night. We got some good stuff there. I think it's Chrissy Field. It's right there too. We never got to go into the buildings out there, but just the grounds alone, you get a ton of activity.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, the next one that we'll go to is, I'll go ahead and put it up, and you can tell us about this.
Which one is it?
It's the residential.
Oh, the squiggly lines all over the place. Yeah, that one was interesting because a lot of people were like, oh, it's just the shutter speed on your camera. No, actually, it wasn't. We didn't have a camera that had that. It was just a regular camera. And I took 2 pictures back to back. I should have sent you both, actually. I'm sorry about that. But the one photo had all of those in it, and the second one didn't have anything in it. And that actually, the garage was where that photo was taken, and that's where most of the activity took place in that house. And the vibe, I mean, the personal experience that went along with the photo, obviously, could tell a whole lot more than just looking at the photo. But that house was crazy.
Yeah.
My most interesting, the lady.
Well, I mean, just looking at the photo is we have actually come and had some lines like this also, but ours weren't in the vivid colors like the green, the red, the blues, the kind of the golden orange, and then coming in at different angles. You got some that are going vertical and others going horizontal.
Yeah, it was definitely a very interesting photo. And when we took that photo, like our K2s were going off, the REM pod was going off. It was just a very active area. that would be usually something I'd probably throw out, just because everyone has an opinion. So it's like, I don't really like to show evidence unless it's like very, you can tell what it is. But we looked at that so many times, and we've had so many different people look at it, and I'm like, I think this is something definitely going on in that area.
And looking at it, the green lines that are going horizontal, you kind of got that mist that's making kind of a couple striations going back toward the back wall.
And I think I can't see the photo right now, but I think there's like one that's kind of like topsy-turvy, like it kind of intertwines with it. Yeah. I don't know. It was an interesting photo for sure.
And the blue lines look like lightning, like actually voltage.
Right. And they're all different. I can see if it was kind of like all the same.
Yeah.
Then okay, well, maybe it was shutter speed, but even but it just.
Yeah, you've got too much going on there to be a camera issue. Yeah.
What do you think about that, Christina?
Well, when I set my camera, my camera is set to 5 pictures when I set it. And they click 5 times because everybody's always told me to do 3 at a time. So we do 5 at a time. I've never captured a photo like this doing that. And I know orbs are crazily they're just not perceived. A lot of dust you get outside and inside. And I've done invests and done pictures. And yes, we'll get dust, but I don't think I've ever captured a photo like this. I really don't.
It's definitely unique. It's actually awesome. I kind of like it.
I do too. We captured something similar at Geiger Grade, but not as intricate as this. Like not as.
Because ours were just the same color. This shows the vivid greens, reds, blues, the golden orange, the gray purplish mist. Yeah.
What do you chatters think?
Of art.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, why you guys put that other? Do we have another picture?
Yes, the next picture is actually at Preston Castle.
I love that picture. So as you see, we took it probably 2 or 3 photos. I put one of them next to it, and so you can see it's not in one and it's in the other. But if you kind of make that picture bigger, you can almost tell it's a face peeking around the corner. And I'm not like I'm kind of anti-orb, just because orbs can be so many different things that aren't spirits. But that hallway, I should have sent you both, but the hallway there is where the guards used to pass through. And so I thought it was kind of interesting. Like we were taking the photo down there, we were trying to call the guards out, and it was almost like someone was peeking around the corner of the doorway. So I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking the photo on the left side.
On the left side, yeah.
Yeah, right. Probably about a foot down from the top of the door.
Yeah, and we took another photo, and it was like, you can see it, like it looks like someone was holding like a lantern, so you could see like the lantern, and then you can see the head too. So we got some good stuff that night on that investigation.
Wait, where was this at again?
Preston Castle.
Oh, Preston Castle.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be going there soon.
Oh, you should. That place is amazing.
It's just expensive.
It is. The prices have really gone up, actually.
That's like almost more expensive than the Goldfield Hotel.
It's crazy the kids on these places.
The next one is the hotel. There was 3 pictures there of the gel area, correct?
Yeah, so you see that really big, like, bubbly orb-looking thing, and then you can, I think each photo, it's, like, kind of moving more towards the right. And that's probably one of the most active areas in the hotel.
Actually, there were 4 of them. The first one is actually a picture of the outside of the building.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I sent you the one with the orbs, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. And from what I heard, and I did actually see a message from Zach to Tammy saying that this episode had the highest rating of views.
This was the Zozo episode, right, Tammy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This episode creeped my daughter out so much when she first saw it because her name is Zoe.
Oh.
So she was super excited when I told her, hey, guess who's going to be on my show?
Yeah,
the Zozo lady.
That place is amazing. And I personally don't believe in Zozo. I think it was kind of like a made up thing. But for some reason, when we played the board there, we'd get Zozo a lot and Mama, which is another name for Zozo, I guess, which I thought was interesting. Because we've been investigating that place, gosh, I don't know, maybe 6 years.
Yeah, a long time.
When we first started, the energy there was so light and inviting, and the spirits were just really communicative with us, and it was nothing ominous at all. It was just a good place to go.
Let's have the argument really quick. So it's Hotel Ledger.
Leger.
Ledger.
No, Susie. Leger.
And some people
Ledger.
say
I'm trying to be Zach Bagans right now. Come on, guys.
Oh, Zach.
Leger.
I'm like standing across the street from him when he's doing that intro, and I'm like, I just wanted to yell at him. I'm like, you're saying it wrong. Yeah, so like 3 takes on that one.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, it's an amazing
Okay.
location.
So this is the first picture. I don't know if I have them in order or not. I hope I do have them in order. This one is kind of just center of the frame. A couple in the second archway.
So like the big orb thing is kind of like on the pillar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh. Okay.
Let's see if I can find the one that's actually on the pillar. There's the one that's on the pillar.
And then one moves out from it, and then it moves again, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay. Ew, weird.
There you go.
Okay, so there's the one that's actually on the pillar, and it's fairly big.
Screen.
Yeah, that's not dust.
And there's one at the bottom of the screen too.
Yeah.
And then it looks like it's moving towards you, towards the person taking the picture.
Yeah, and it moves in each frame. There's like 4 other photos that go with that, actually. And it was quite interesting because we got those ones in there, and then we went into the cellar, and we got the same type of movement. It was like coming out from the wall, and it would move and move, and then it like sat down in the chair. Yeah, if you ever are in Northern California and you want to investigate an amazing place, Hotel Leger is it. Like, that place does not disappoint.
I go to Northern California a lot, but I'm not. What town is this place in?
It's in Mollicomie Hill. It's kind of by Jackson.
Is that anywhere near Santa Cruz?
No, it's in the gold mine area.
Okay.
That's kind of our thing, like Columbia, Mollicomie Hill, like that whole area was like our baby. The gold mining towns for me are just amazing because the history behind it, and you just get so much activity in places like that.
Yeah, I did notice that on your website that it looked like you were at the the southern end of the mother lode.
Mm-hmm.
And because I used to go up and do a lot of gold panning on the American and the Feather River up near Yuba City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my baby. And the relationships that we've built with the spirits in those locations, like they know us. Like other teams go into Leger and people legit get EVPs asking for us by our names. So
isn't that neat how you have your babies? Like I have my baby. Everybody knows what my baby is.
What's your baby?
600 guy in grade. Here in Reno.
Okay.
Yeah. It was an old abandoned house. It was built in 1860, and we started investigating it when it was very old and decrepit and vandalized, and then it was torn down, and I cried. But we continued to investigate the property, and now it's being built on. They're building apartments on it right now. It's breaking my heart, but
it's so crazy. Like they always build like senior homes on top of these like totally haunted. I'm just like, that's so wrong.
I'm about ready. As soon as they're done building these apartments, I'm gonna pass out flyers like contact the Mr. Gang if you experience any paranormal.
And believe it or not, when we went to the Bell Mansion last weekend, we encountered two. They were like in their late 60s, early 70s, and they were all for the paranormal. They're like Independence, Missouri, and Kansas City, Missouri is full of it. It's right. All about the historic, part of it. So I'm thinking their ancestors are gonna talk to them. I'm telling y'all right now, their ancestors are gonna talk to them.
It's crazy to me. Like, I don't know if you know what Linda Vista Hospital is in Los Angeles. Like, that place was so wrong. Like, so wrong. The haunting there was just ugh. And they built, I think, a senior citizen home thing on there, and then at the Presidio where the hospital was, they built a apartment complex. I'm just like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, these poor people.
I seriously feel like leaving little signs while they're building apartments on Geiger Grade. Like, this place is haunted. Come on, guys. Like, this place is like, you do not want to build here. But no. But yeah, that's my baby. We all have our babies, right? Definitely. We really do.
We're protective of that place, but I mean, I'm still like, whatever people want to investigate there, that's fine, but just don't mess with it.
Don't mess with it, yeah.
Don't go up there.
Placerville has a couple haunted hotels and a haunted gold mine.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, like crazy, I haven't investigated out there. I think I've went to a couple of the cemeteries, but we haven't done anything out there yet. The Holbrook Hotel is really fun too. That's in Grass Valley. Nevada City is amazing. They have this abandoned insane asylum where not that long ago, I think it was like in the 90s, somebody came in and shot up the place. And now I have pictures of that all over my Facebook too. That's like one of my favorite places, but they won't let anybody in there anymore. And I think they're thinking about building apartments there too. I'm just like, that's so wrong.
Oh my God.
It's an amazing location if you can't go in it. That's fine.
I've actually heard there is one building there in Grass Valley that they will not let anybody into because it is so haunted, and people have actually lost their minds because it's so dark with energy. I do not know the name of it. I will have to get in contact with some of my friends that live there in Grass Valley and get you the name of it.
Yeah. Well, if Jen is still here in chat with us, Jen, are you still in chat? She might know.
Those are my favorite places.
Jen's stepdad. Lisa says she's here. She might know. Jen might know. But okay, well, let's move on because we're getting to
okay.
We still got videos and stuff.
Do we have EVPs to play?
We do, but we also have a video.
Okay.
Video.
We're gonna get to the video.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
And
So this video is of a Ouija board. Ooh.
In my house.
Have like a finger lightly.
So you guys check out this video as soon as Brian gets it going. So this was at your house?
Yeah.
Oh, look. Okay, here we go. Here's the video, guys.
Are you trying to answer us?
There's things flying around my camera.
What the fuck?
Board's rotating counterclockwise.
What happens if one of you guys take your hands off it?
I don't want to. Don't.
What is going on there? It's just turning?
Yeah, so it was crazy. We did this like.
Are you trying to turn the board around facing me?
We had a few different Ouija boards, and at first
No.
we had
We're barely
groups of
touching.
people on different boards, and we were trying to get it to
It's a
answer
board
all
on top of a
boards,
board.
so it wouldn't do that.
Keep turning, please.
And then so I have a
What
table, like an old antique table that was refurbished into a Ouija board.
is fucking going
And so I'm like, well, what if we play a Ouija board on top of the Ouija board? Let's see what happens. So we put the board on top of
This
the
is
table.
why
I'm not even
And,
freaking touching
me
this shit.
because
Like,
I knew
why are you
like, literally
something
kidding me?
crazy would
doing it,
happen
the board
if you
started
did.
spinning
Thank you
as
for
a
doing that. That must
Thank you.
Hey, who?
Thank you.
It went on.
Who's
I
here
think,
with us?
It was
7
wrong.
minutes, but this went on for a lot longer.
Hold on.
And it's like literally spinning as
Counterclockwise
it's
now.
answering questions. It's like how could the board spin?
I'm curious
and
to
answer
see what
questions at the
direction
same time.
the bottom board is facing.
Like that is insane.
Whoa,
And the things that it was saying actually,
whoa.
like, were really on point, like to what was going on at that time. And yeah, I don't know. It was a weird experience, but it was amazing. I'm so happy we got that on camera because nobody would believe it if they didn't see it with their own eyes.
That's crazy. What do you chatters think about that video? Bri, Christina, what do you guys think about that?
I don't like Ouija boards, but I think this video is absolutely awesome.
This is never
You see
happened
it spinning
before,
one
so-
direction, and it's going
okay.
fairly slow, and then it
Are you
spins
trying to
back
answer
the
us?
other direction at a faster rotation.
Around my camera.
And I've got to go out to the website. I know it's out there. I saw part of it, and I said I need to get this for the show. And so yeah, if you want to take a look at the whole video, go out to Lost Souls Investigations website, and
Are you trying to turn the board around facing me?
Well, here,
Yeah,
I'll
a couple
put,
other videos.
I've been posting the YouTube channel in chat this whole time. Let me post
barely
it
touching.
again. You guys can go watch the whole video,
It's a
and
board on
plus
top
they've
of a
got a
board.
lot of other videos
Keep turning, please.
as well. So I just put it in chat there.
What the
But yeah, it's about 7 minutes long. Now,
is
that's just
fucking
crazy
going
because I can see that you guys are like barely touching.
Yeah, we were like literally fingertips were
This
just
is
barely.
why
I'm not even
to
freaking
do this
touching
with me
this shit.
because
Like,
I knew
But
why
no,
would
like,
something
kidding me?
crazy would
If
happen
we
if
were
you did.
doing it, you would obviously be able to
Thank you
tell
for
we
doing
were
that.
moving
That must
forward.
Thank
have
you.
been a lot.
Okay.
And
Who-
at some point,
thank you.
like you said, like it would
Who's
go
here with us?
It was
fast,
wrong.
And then at points it was
Hold
answering
on.
questions as it was spinning, and it was like,
Going
how the hell?
clockwise
And
now.
we were freaking out, but Drew was like, oh my god. I'm like, just calm down,
I'm
go with
curious
it,
to
let
see
it
what
happen.
direction
Like this
the bottom
never
board
happened
is facing.
before.
Yeah,
Whoa,
if you watch it on the website and everything, you actually hear the audio, and yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy experience, and it happened one other time at Leger. Yeah.
Ledger.
Have like a finger
Ledger.
lightly
Ledger.
pressed on. This has never happened before.
Liquor.
It's okay.
Ledger. No,
Are you trying to
seriously,
answer
it's
us?
funny because you're like laughing. You'd be like me. Seriously, if I was experiencing something like that, I'd be like laughing out of
Board's
like
rotating counterclockwise.
terror and excitement at the same time.
My heart was beating so fast. I was just so excited, And because we had a bunch of people there too, so it was like for everybody to see this happening. So it's like a story that I didn't have to tell all my friends because most of them were there to experience it too. And it was just like, it was phenomenal. I mean, like, this is what I do.
Are you
this
trying to
stuff
turn
for,
the board
like,
around
experience like
facing
this.
me?
It was really cool. And a lot of people are against the board, but for me, it's cool.
We're barely
You know,
touching.
I think that the moment we step foot into a haunted location, we're putting ourselves at risk because we don't know
Keep
what's
turning,
there.
please.
So whatever we use to
What the
communicate, you know, I've heard of things happening from listening back on EVPs and white noise and all of that stuff. So for me, it's just a tool. I would never use it.
I'm not even freaking touching this shit. Like,
I
why
knew
are you
something
kidding me?
crazy would happen if you
other
did.
historical locations that allow
Thank you
them.
for doing that. That must have
Thank
taken a lot
you.
of
Okay,
places.
who
Thank you.
You know, the Ouija
Who's
board
here with us?
is a very
It was
interesting
wrong.
conversation. That's how I feel about
Well,
it.
if you-
I mean, for me,
Going
like,
clockwise now.
it's a tool,
I'm
like
curious
any
to
other
see what
tool that we
direction
use,
the bottom board is facing.
whether it's an audio
Whoa,
device
whoa, whoa,
or
whoa,
a
whoa,
K2
whoa,
or
whoa,
whatever.
whoa.
We're using these tools, and we have to be careful no matter what we're using. So.
Oh yeah, and you talk to people that are kind of against things, against pendulums, against scrying, against spirit writing. They'll always say you're opening up something. You're opening up that doorway. Even I've heard people even say using a ghost box or a Frank's box, you're opening up that doorway. Audio recorder, you're asking questions, you're opening up that doorway. You can't always open up a doorway.
Sometimes it's open.
Yeah, and sometimes they weren't closed properly. I've always heard bad things about the Ouija board. I've only done it once or twice, and the only thing that I really had happen was a green orb about the size of a softball rolling across the living room floor, and then it rolled up the stairs. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I'm not going to play with that anymore. And from that point on, I have never touched a Ouija board.
So Lisa said that they couldn't hear us while the video was playing. So.
They couldn't hear us?
Yeah, they
talking?
couldn't hear us talking. They could just hear the video probably, which is fine.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the video. That's okay. And then Alexandra says, I won't ever touch a Ouija board.
No, and nobody in our group has either. But the Ouija board was actually made by
It was made by Mattel. It was actually
it's
patent. It was actually patented as a toy.
Yeah.
But the idea dates back way past that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, I read that.
So
You know, we've done. I personally, I like old school methods versus like all this new technology stuff. I like table tipping. I like the.
I was just gonna ask you if you had tried that.
Yeah, table tipping.
okay.
That's a good one too. For me, like midway into doing the paranormal, like I got crazy about buying equipment, but then you realize that the environment can set off so many of these pieces of equipment. My partner forgot to turn off his cell phone, and he gets a text message. Guess what? That K2 is going off, and so does Pod and other things. And to me, that doesn't validate a spirit, you know, unless you have something going on top of that, and the K2 goes off. Okay, well then that just shows it even more. But I like, you know, I think for me, photos, video. EVPs,
your sound,
audio,
like that's the legit stuff. Because anybody can sit there with a K2 and have it go off and say it's a ghost, but who knows? If I've been actually with teams who had walkie-talkies in their pocket, hitting that walkie-talkie to make it look like the K2's going up, and we're in a residential house, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you don't do that. Like, this is someone's home. Like, you don't scare somebody like that. So I'm very much against anything like that, and I'm very strict when it comes to investigating, because you can't have your cell phone on. Like, what's that prove? Oh my gosh, the K2 is going off because my cell phone's on. Like it just doesn't work for me.
Well,
your own
said Charles Kennard is the founder of the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that actually patented it. But as Tammy was saying, and as the research we did about the equipment from the past to the present, it has been around since forever.
Forever. I was just gonna say forever.
And I think there were
because
who were the ones who kind of put it in motion to get it patented, and I think it was like in the 1800s. I can't remember their names right now. But yeah, I mean, I've read stories about like the 1700s and stuff like that using something similar.
Oh yeah. We've
even
had
before
it,
that, I'm sure. Before Christ.
We've had it dating back to God, what was it? 600s AD.
Oh my God, because we did a show on it that like a year ago or a year and a half ago.
And see,
what you think of?
I think Hollywood demonized the Ouija board too, like with the movies and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's
Hollywood, yeah.
And I'll get so many people like, I'll never touch the Ouija board, and I'll be like, why? And they'll be like, because my brother's mother's sister's cousin's aunt. And I'm like, but were you even there? Like, people tell stories all the time. I mean, and don't get me wrong, something bad could happen, because anything can happen when we're investigating, no matter what we use. But I think a lot of it has to do with intent, knowing how to open, close, knowing the signs, knowing what to look for. Like if the board starts counting down, something's trying to release from the board. You say goodbye, you get off the board. It's knowledge is power in anything that we do. But nothing's foolproof either. But I've never had anything that happened that was terrible from using the Ouija board. So
I guess that's one thing that I don't use, because I don't know enough about it to feel safe and comfortable using it.
Right. And I respect that 100%. I mean, I'm not a person that like pushes my beliefs on anybody, to each their own.
I would love to sit in a room and watch somebody that knows what they're doing.
Right.
Do it. And even table tipping, because that was one of the biggest things that Harry Houdini was big into. He was trying to expose all of the tricksters out there, saying, I gave my wife a code word and such and such, and no one's ever gotten that. So
yeah, they all used to be like parlor tricks back in the day, and and so I was like, well, let's try it, let's see, and sure enough, it worked for us. So I don't know, like I said, I love to learn new things. Like for me, like if I do the ghost box now, it's like a sensory thing. Like I like to be blindfolded and have headset on, so I don't hear the questions that are being asked. I have somebody else ask the questions, and all I hear is what's coming through the ghost box. Like for me, that's the best way to do that. A piece of equipment.
I've actually seen that. The only issue that I have with the ghost box is I can't sit and listen to white noise.
Yeah, it gets a little. A while.
I mean, I spent 25 years in the military, and when we would scan frequencies looking for intel, we would get that white noise, and so I just can't listen to white noise. Yeah, it gives me a headache, and it'll put me to sleep.
Yeah. Call it the headache machine. They call it the headache.
ibuprofen box, but me and Will has done it like 3 times, and it has actually worked about maybe 30% of the time. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
But it is work.
Like the SB7 over the SB11. I didn't like the SB11.
I agree. I don't really like the SB11. I like the SB7 too.
Yeah.
Much better. It's much better.
But me personally, I tend to like shy away from equipment now. I've done the equipment stuff, and now I like to use my own body as an instrument. That's my thing.
I think our body's the number one tool. Honestly.
Always having your audio there, though, of course.
Oh, yeah. You have to have that.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you just rely on your body alone, you can't validate a personal experience.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's one thing that Amy Allen does on the Dead Files is she has Matt videoing her the whole entire time that she's in the house. So you're actually seeing what she's doing for that validation.
Right.
And as you can tell, Amy Allen's another one of my favorites.
Yeah, I like Amy too.
All right, guys. Well, we got to get to these EVPs.
Let's get to the EVPs.
Yes, please. All right, guys. Listen to these EVPs. Chatters, please let us know what you hear before Tammy lets us know.
Oh, but I can't hear them.
Will Tammy be able to hear them?
That's right. We are doing. Wow, how are we going to do this? I'm playing EVP 1, but I don't know what EVP 1 is for
that was the first one that she sent through.
Well, I know what 2 say for sure. I think I sent you 3, right?
Yeah, you sent us 3,
yes.
And they should be all in order. I think I sent them all to Brian in order. So we're going to be going 1, 2, and then 3.
Okay, this one is the audio recorder. It looks like it's sitting on pillowcases because it has the embroidery on the pillowcase.
Okay, I know what those 2 say. Okay. I just don't know what the 3rd one is. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, let's wing it and let's go with the first one.
Okay.
Here. Oh no.
What color is your hair?
Here. Oh no.
What color is your hair?
Here. Oh no.
What color is your hair?
Here. Oh no.
I know what I heard.
I'm playing again.
What color is your hair?
Here.
Oh no. What do you want?
What color is your hair?
Alexandria said, I'm
calling here. Oh no.
What color is your hair?
Oh, and I heard something different than what Alexander
Okay, I'm
Being
gonna play
here.
it one more time.
Okay, thank
Oh,
you.
no.
What color is your hair?
Being here. Oh, no.
What color is your hair?
Being here. Oh, no.
What color is your hair?
Okay. Did you hear that, Christina? You gotta unmute
Being here.
YouTube.
I already did.
Oh, no.
I couldn't hear it.
Oh, I heard it. Well, Alexander heard.
What color is your hair?
Oh, now and then brown.
Being here.
That's
Oh, no.
what I thought too.
I heard something different.
What'd you hear?
What color is your hair?
God help. And then I heard
Being
help
here.
again.
Oh, no.
What color is your hair?
Anybody else hear something different?
They are coming through, right?
Huh?
They are coming through, right?
Yeah, I heard it. Christina didn't, but I did. Jen also heard something similar. She heard,
Oh
my God, help, then help. That's what I heard too. I heard, oh my God, help, and then help again. Anyone else?
Oh, she's asking me to play it again.
Okay.
Being here. Oh, no.
What color is your hair?
Being here. Oh, no.
What color is your hair?
Being here. Oh, no.
What color is your hair?
Okay.
Yeah, Jen's hearing the same thing as me. Oh my God, help, and then help again.
I just heard it, yeah, because I muted that, the Skype call, so I could hear it here. That's what I heard too.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next.
Want. 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 Want.
By the way, Jen says, meant to comment earlier about Grass Valley. That's where I live. I'm the local paranormal team in that area if you're interested in locations. Yeah, Jen says it sounds like a bird.
Yeah, I was gonna say I keep hearing a bird.
See, I thought I heard what I
Want. Want. Want.
Thank God he's he's not making bad choices at talking right now.
No, that one, when I first heard it, did sound like a bird, but I mean,
that wasn't pretty.
It just sounded super, like, I don't know, screechy, weird. What do you think is it? What do you guys hear other than Jen and Lisa?
Unless you want to play it again.
Want. Want. Want.
Honestly, it sounded kind of evil to me.
Come into the house. Wait till you hear the next one.
Y'all can see Frank in the background. He's
okay. I hear, what do you want? And then I hear a screech, a space, and then another screech. I can't make out what it's saying. But I hear something replying to that question twice.
It wants me.
Play it again, Brian.
Want. Want. Want.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I hear it. I'm not really sure what it's saying.
There's a bird. That's not my bird, but it is.
No, yeah,
it's chirping, and then it says, hello.
Alexandra says peace and quiet, and now?
Okay, can you play it again, Brian? Sorry, Brian.
Want. Want. Want.
I don't know.
It's chirping, but it says hello. Because I have a bird, a cockatiel that likes to talk, and that don't sound like my bird.
There's no bird here, though. I have cats, but they don't make those noises.
No.
I almost hear like it's like repeating you at first, but then it says something else, and I can't make out what it's saying the second part of it.
It's saying hello first, after the little welcoming cheer. And I have a cockatiel, so they're going to chirp, chirp, and they say hello, but then they're doing a greeting type of thing, and I can't get what it's doing because every bird does it different.
Okay, I'm hearing something completely different.
What are you hearing, Brian?
I can't make out what the first part is, but I hear you on the second part.
Yeah, that's what I hear is you.
Okay. All right.
Want. 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 Want.
Hey, why are you doing?
That's still the second one.
Yeah, that was still the second one. Let me see if I got the.
Hang on, guys. We're looking for the third EVP.
No, you sent me the same one twice.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, because I think the third one, it's me asking, "Are you trying to scare me?"
Yeah, it doesn't even look the same as it on your video page on your website.
It shows the JBL speaker too. It's the same. It was like the same session.
Yeah, it's actually the same one, same size, everything. Yeah. All right. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So y'all continue to talk, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about what it was like to work with Ghost Adventures. What was it like to be on Paranormal TV?
It was amazing. The producer contacted me like a year and a half before we did Leger. They wanted to do my house. But I rent and my landlord said no. So I was like, oh, unfortunately not. And then so and at that time too, a mutual friends of mine had just done the show, and I kind of felt like if I did it that soon to them, I'd feel like I was stepping on their toes. So it was kind of like, okay, let's just kind of like let it sit for a minute. And then they ended up contacting me back again a year and a half later, asking again if they can do the house. And I was like, well, nothing's changed. My landlord is not about it. But I do have another really amazing location. And so it took about 7 months of working with the producer. I got so much information to him and history and just like a lot of stuff to present to Zach to get him to say yes. Because at that time they were looking for more residential stuff. But it paid off. All the hard work paid off. Zach took it. And at that point, like it happened really fast. As soon as Zach said yes, it was like 2 days later they wanted to go there and film. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going to make this happen in 2 days. It all worked out and it was amazing. You know, everyone kind of has their feelings about Zach and he's kind of a douche and blah, 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 blah. And meeting him and working with him, like my views really changed because he does everything, and it was just amazing, like kind of sitting back and watching him like run the thing, you know, like from producing it to directing to being a part of it, and it's just like, wow, like this guy really busts butt, and I really just have a whole new respect for him. I was very nervous to say the least, getting down there and actually doing like the interview part, and he had me standing against the wall for like 10 minutes, and they're like getting the film of it, and I'm just like, my heart's like the microphone's on my chest, and I'm like, my God, I hope they don't hear my heart beating right now because it's really embarrassing. And then Zach comes in with his little like mask thing on, and it was like Darth Vader approaching me. Oh my God. But it just flowed. It was so natural. You know, there was no like 20 takes. Like they took my interview, they did it, and they ran with it. And the guys they were amazing. They really were. And you know, Billy, I think, was probably my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, they were really personable. They talked with us, and it was cool. I wish I was able to do more with them than what we did, but it was a great experience. And what I loved most, because a lot of people say that they like to twist the story around and make something out of it that wasn't, or false information. And I was very upfront with the producer at the time. I was like, if they add in any BS, I don't want any part of it, because this place is my baby and I'm really close with the owner and I don't want any problems there. So I want this place represented perfectly as to what it is. And they did a really good job. He didn't twist anything. All the history that I sent, he said it correctly. And, you know, he didn't, but it's such a location where you don't have to over exaggerate it, because it is what it is. And I liked it because they kind of went back to like an old school way of investigating when they investigated it too. So it was fun, and I think they represented it really well. I have a lot of respect for those guys.
It's really nice to hear that, because, you know, being in the radio show perspective, you hear a lot of different people saying different things. I meet a lot of people who say different things about Zach, and I've never met him, but it's nice to hear something nice about him. And what you were saying about him not twisting the truth, I kind of get that, because a lot of people said that he did that with the Goldfield Hotel, which my group just did. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he did that. I don't think he did. A lot of the stuff he did with the Goldfield Hotel at the very beginning, way back, if you go way back to like 2007, when he did his first documentary, he pretty much just set it up to be about the rumors that have been going on. I don't know if you know a whole lot about the rumors about Goldfield Hotel, but about Elizabeth and the baby and all of this different stuff with the Goldfield Hotel. That stuff's been circulating for years before Ghost Adventures had ever been there. And a lot of people are saying now that he's the one who started those rumors. And no, he really wasn't. That stuff, he was just kind of proposing those ideas. So,
and the other thing that really gets to me is like people get so butthurt about the show, and I'm like, you know what? It's entertainment. He has to like add some dramatics, because people aren't going to watch if there's not. Like if we had a TV show that showed what normal like investigations look like, and us sitting there for like 10 hours and not getting anything, nobody's going to watch that. I'm sorry, nobody's going to watch it. And they're investigating for a couple of days. It's not just one evening of investigation that they're putting on television to begin with. And also people have to remember, it's not just the location, but it's the energy of the people investigating the location. I can go on an investigation with certain people and get nothing. And then I can go with another group of people, and every time we go to a place, it is off the hook, because they feed off of us. And that's what people also don't understand. Like, if you're not getting a whole bunch of stuff, maybe you're at a dead place, but maybe it's you too. So there's so many different variables when it comes to investigating that people just don't put into place. And, you know, in Zach, he likes to call out the spirits and this and that and provoke. And, you know, I think that a certain level of provoking in a respectful way is okay. I think sometimes it's necessary, but to like just be an a-hole, like that's not okay, of course. But I mean, I'm not 100% against provoking, and I think in certain situations it needs to be done. So, and those are just like some things that people have against him that kind of irk me, because it's like, well, let's really think about this for a minute. And I think a lot of people are haters because he's so successful, and I think that's another reason why people bag on him as much as they do, because honestly, a lot of people in the field nowadays want a television show. That's why they're doing this. And that's why the field's gotten so competitive and so nasty. And it's like we're in high school all over again. It's because people want to be famous.
That's very true. And that's why I try to make my documentaries different than... I try to make my documentaries like true documentaries, not like ghost hunting shows, because there are so many teams out there right now doing that whole like ghost hunting show type of video that they're trying to get on Amazon Prime and Netflix and stuff. where I'm just trying to do the whole actual documentary thing and make it more legit and make it more real, to where it's not just like you're following us around the whole time and, I'm trying to,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, I won't lie. I got caught up in things because we had producers reaching out to us left and right, and it's attractive. It's like, oh my God, I get to be on TV, that's cool. But that's not why I got into the paranormal. There's such a big difference there, because when I got into it, the TV shows weren't even 18 years ago. The TV shows weren't anything at that point,
Yeah.
I think that you can still have a passion for something and be a part of the paranormal TV thing. It's knowing where to draw the line and being honest about it too. Because so many people are like, I don't want a TV show, and then the next minute, they're posting something. Oh, this production company reached out to me, and blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, let's just be real.
Yeah, I've had, my group, we've had so many production companies like trying to reach out to us, and we're not about that. We don't want to sell out.
Right.
We are in it for just trying to get the education out there, just trying to let people know what we're capturing, what's really going on out there. And so that's what it's all about. I would definitely not sell out to anybody, because I've heard that once you sign, all evidence goes over to them and everything goes over to them. So that's not something that my group would want to be part of at all in any way.
I mean, we've talked about as a team, like having a show, and we've pitched, I'm not going to lie, we've pitched to different networks and stuff. If I were to ever have a paranormal show, like, I would want it to be my way, not a production company way, because then everything just gets kind of twisted, and it's not educational, it's not factual, and that's where I would have a problem. Because I'm not about faking things and all of that. Like, that's stuff that I can't stand. Like, I don't have any patience for it. I've left teams because of it. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of my thing at the time when that was kind of happening at the time. But now I'm back to more just wanting to investigate and have fun with it and learn and teach, because I feel like there's so many people out there that are doing it for the wrong reasons or aren't as educated and can cause harm to themselves and other people by doing things. And it's just kind of getting the word out there and helping people through it.
Yeah, exactly. Brian, do we have a outcome?
No, I'm sorry. I don't think that it got copied. I'm trying to find your message to me.
It's okay. I could have swore that I sent you, but it might have been my fault. So, but it was still a good few EVPs and a good video.
I do have it as far as when Tammy sent it to me, and let me see if I can put the link into that. Well, it keeps coming up Facebook, and I can't put it because it's too many characters long. I'll have to add it to it afterwards.
Well, that's okay. I'm sorry, Tammy, but we did get at least your video and some good EVPs out there, but we gotta close up here. So a few little things here, guys, before we end. So, guys, Brian, Christina, I guess our next show, we're going to be doing a haunted location. So I'm really excited about this, because since we started our radio show back up in January, we haven't done one yet. We're going to be doing the Sally House, right, guys?
Oh, yeah. Old Port Paranormal Research is going to be investigating in June.
So, yeah, our next show, which is going to be on 4/26, we're going to be covering the Sally House. So which is supposedly the original demon house. So we're going to be Christina, Brian, and hopefully Caitlin and I, we're going to be doing a lot of research and doing a whole entire show on the Sally house. We're going to include real personal accounts, real evidence, as much as we can in the show, and asking for your help in deciding whether this location is really haunted or not. And maybe that'll help Christina too.
Yeah, and Mr. Gang and Fort, we're all, we're sister groups.
Yeah.
So when we do this investigation, they're going to be a part of it. So we're excited.
Okay.
And what I was going to say is, just like we do all of our locations, we'll let you know what we find out. We're not going to sway you one way or the other. And just like we did when we did the Lizzie Borden calls, we presented you the facts that we found on our research. And you can make up your own decision whether it's demons or whatnot.
Yeah.
I myself, when we did the Lizzie Borden house, I still say she didn't do it.
No, I don't either.
So
I agree. So yeah, this is going to be a really fun show, guys. So make sure and join us, and you can all chime in and let us know. It's going to be a great show. So what were you going to say, Brad?
And if you've ever noticed, I sort of take the devil's advocate. I'll take one stance and let the other members take the other stance. And we have just a good discussion. I present my facts, they present their facts. And we let our listeners and our fans make up their mind on what they think.
Exactly. I'm excited because we haven't had one of these shows since we started our show in January. So we had a lot of these shows when we were on the network, but so I'm really excited about doing this. Now, so that's going to be our next show on 426, Sally House. And I want to say, as far as team updates, so Brian and I, as you know, are part of the Mr. Gang. I have a few updates. Tomorrow, my team is going to be going out to, and I just put our team link there in chat. We're going to be going out to an abandoned insane asylum. We're probably going to be going live. So you guys might want to watch. It's an undisclosed location as of right now. But if you want to join in the fun, we'll probably be going live when we get there, as long as we've got connection. So keep an eye on the Mr. Gang page. I just put the link in there, and we'll be there tomorrow. And then also, don't forget to watch our Goldfield Hotel, the Ghosts of Goldfield Hotel documentary, which was just released last Friday. You guys, don't forget to watch that. It's going to blow your minds. And then also, Christina, I'm going to post your link. What team announcements do you have?
Riverside, Iowa Paranormal.
No, I mean, as far as your team goes, do you have any, team announcements? Anything going on with your team coming up?
Oh, we're going to be doing the Sally's house in June. But then we don't want to say anything about May, because we got some good stuff coming up in May that nobody's ever done.
Okay.
So we want to kind of keep that private.
Okay. And then as far as Facebook group shouts, you just did Riverside, which is awesome. I love Riverside. And then mine is going to be Sinister Sightings, and I'm putting their link right there in chat. Sinister Sightings is my sister team. They're back. They've kind of taken a break for a little while, but they're back in business. Check out their group page. They're amazing. No drama, down to earth, like just amazing team that you want to check out. So again, the link's there. And then also, don't forget to check out our group page, Haunting the Afterlife group page, posting our link there. Haunting the Afterlife group page. If you guys want to stay updated on our guests, our events, everything, you definitely want to be a member of our page. So that's about all I have. Anything else, Brian?
Yeah, I would just like to do my shout outs. My shout out is to believers in all things paranormal.
Oh, I love those guys. They're awesome.
And I just passed Tammy a little message in chat. I am still thinking about doing our roundtable paranormal discussion, and I would be honored if you would be one of the panelists on this discussion.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So let me just do some more work and get some more panelists and get a date going, and we'll have a big round table discussion and talk about anything and everything paranormal.
We'll have a big powwow.
Yes.
Sounds like fun to me. All right, guys. What was that, Christina?
Tammy's amazing. I love her.
Thank you for having me so much. It was so much fun.
We definitely want to thank you for being on the show. It's been very fascinating and amazing. Thank you so much, Tammy. And thank you. I want to thank you, all our chatters and all of our listeners, of course. You know, give us a like, subscribe, and follow us. We've got a bunch more guests coming up soon too, so just keep us in mind. But thanks again, Tammy. You've been amazing. We definitely love you. Look forward to having you back on our show soon. Anything else, guys?
I'm good, and it's been an honor to meet you, Tammy.
It's been great. I'm so happy we did this.
Thank you, Alexandra. We appreciate that. She's a good show. Okay, guys. Well, we love you. Light, love, the peace.